Annyeonghaseyo, my name is Katie and today I'm going to be reviewing Kim Woo Bin's new drama Uncontrollably Fond. I'm really excited to review this because I have a lot of thoughts on it and because there are many varying opinions on it, so I'd love to give my 2 cents on this controversial drama. I don't know. There are a lot of varying opinions on this. So Uncontrollably Fond stars Suzy as No-eul and Kim Woo Bin as Shin-ju Young, as well as Im Ju-hwan. He was in Oh My Ghostess. I was very surprised to see him in this. And Im Ju-eun. This is a terminal illness drama. I was not expecting that when I went into it because the My Drama List summary said nothing about terminal illness, so I was not prepared. This is about a man and a woman who knew each other in high school and they kind of had some bad things happen. They have a kind of a tragic past. So they meet each other 10 years later and the man, played by Kim Woo Bin, is now a top Hallyu star and the woman is a very poor producer. But even though they meet again, Kim Woo Bin's character now has like a brain tumor or something. He has a terminal illness and only has 3 months to live. So it's pretty tragic and terrible. Basically, every time they meet, something terrible happens and they just can't be happy. But Uncontrollably Fond was many people's most anticipated drama of 2016, and I know that a lot of people were disappointed by it. And I think that's just because this drama is not for everyone. It is heavy makjang melodrama. If you don't know what makjang is, that is a really over cliche melodramatic plot line where everyone is related to each other in some way or another, and it's filled with one-dimensional characters that mess everything up by telling lies, and just a bunch of ridiculous situations happen. I think there were like 6 car accidents in this drama, so that kind of gives you an idea of what it's like. The plot was very, very makjang. There wasn't a plot aside from the makjang, and this is actually the same writer that wrote I'm Sorry, I Love You, which I have not seen, but I heard that's a very sad drama as well. It stars Soji Sub. So this writer is notorious for melodramas with sad endings. Uncontrollably Fond could honestly be called uncontrollably depressing because the whole show was super depressing. It was just sad. It was terrible. But that doesn't mean I didn't like it. I personally actually did like the show despite its flaws. It definitely had many flaws, but I went into it with literally no expectations, and you know, I just enjoyed it for what it was. I went along on the ride, and it was, it might have been a train wreck at times, but it was very entertaining and I really liked it. It wasn't completely terrible. Many people are just saying this is a terrible drama, but it had a lot of good things in it. One of those things was the acting. A lot of people were very nervous about Suzy's acting. I actually have not seen Suzy in anything because I haven't watched Dream High or anything like that. So her acting, she's not gonna win like an award for it, but I didn't think it ruined the show. I mean, there were a couple times where I'm like, yeah, she can't act. But then, you know, the rest was pretty okay. Kim Woo Bin really was pulling the weight on this show. His acting was fabulous, and actually the whole cast pretty much was pretty good at acting, but Kim Woo Bin, he really got me, especially with his character having a terminal illness. That has to be portrayed correctly in a character for it to truly affect the viewer, and I thought he did a really great job, not to mention he's super, super handsome. He's just a beautiful man, and it's amazing. I just can't stop staring at his face. And that's actually one of the nice things about Uncontrollably Fond. Because it was a melodrama, there's a lot of slow shots of just the characters' faces because they're like staring at each other or whatever. And so you get a lot of Kim Woo Bin's face as well as Suzy, and she's very pretty too. So I actually really liked the acting overall. I mean, it wasn't flawless, but dramas rarely have flawless acting. So I thought it was actually very good in that sense. Another thing I absolutely adored about this drama was the cinematography. This is a very, very beautiful drama. There were many scenes that I just had to pause and stop and just stare at the beauty of it. Like, oh my gosh, it was filmed so beautifully, and Uncontrollably Fond was all pre-filmed. When it comes to a lot of dramas, they are filmed as the show is going on, so like the ending can be changed due to fan reactions and whatever, and sometimes it's a bit rushed, and the filming and editing kind of can fall flat sometimes. Uncontrollably Fond was all pre-filmed, so everything was set in stone, and you can tell they were able to take their time on each shot and make the show as beautiful as possible. There were some scenes by cherry trees, there were some scenes in the snow, and there was one scene in like episode 4 where Kim Woo Bin is at a concert, and because he's a Hallyu star and he's giving a concert, and that was such a cheesy scene, but it was so romantic and it was beautifully filmed, and he was singing with sunglasses on. That's like a dream come true. It was just beautiful. I loved the filming, and the editing was very nice as well. Speaking of Kim Woo Bin singing, Kim Woo Bin and Suzy both made contributions to the soundtrack. Kim Woo Bin sang Picture in My Head and Do You Know, and Suzy sang Ring My Bell. But there were also many other great songs on the soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack for this show was absolutely outstanding. My favorite song, hands down, is New Empire's A Little Braver. It's just encompasses everything that this drama is. I mean, the song's actually probably a little better than the drama, but you know, whatever. I also really liked Midnight Youth's Golden Love. That was a really nice song. Both A Little Braver and Golden Love were English songs, but I really like it when dramas include kind of obscure English songs that I've never heard before. That's something that Healer did with Michael Learns to Rock's Eternal Love, and I really loved that one as well, and A Little Braver just really reminded me of that, and it was just a beautiful song. Like, I waited for that song to come on every episode. That was like what I was waiting for. It was just so emotional and it was beautiful and I loved it. As I mentioned earlier, Im Joo Hwan was in this, and he was actually the policeman in Oh My Ghost Is, and he had a very different role in this. He played the young son of a prosecutor turned congressman who was very corrupt. I really liked his character. Like, yeah, he made some bad decisions at times, but like, he had a super interesting character. I thought his acting was very good. He has a very nice face. I'm just very impressed with how different his role was in this show compared to what I saw in Oh My Ghost Is, and it was very well done. He really impressed me. So as for the characters in this show, a lot of them, actually I think all of them were pretty darn messed up. It was pretty terrible. But Lee So-won played Susie's younger brother in this show. He played Nojik. He is the purest cinnamon roll on this planet. I really want to see him in a male lead role now because he was outstanding. He's only 19 years old and I was super impressed with him. He was definitely on par with the more experienced actors and that was super cool, and I loved his character. Compared to the rest of the characters, he was by far just the most unproblematic. The rest of the characters were just disasters. There were evil moms. The mom in this show is probably as evil as Junpyo's mom, and Gu Junpyo's mom was pretty darn evil. I hated this mom in this show with a passion, and the dad in this show, the prosecutor, I actually really thought his character was interesting because I thought that the show did a good job of making not all the characters, but some of the characters actually very fleshed out, and I thought the prosecutor was one of those characters, Choi Hyun-jun. I mean, he's a pretty terrible person at times, and he made some very bad decisions, but he had a conscience. I mean, he didn't always listen to it, but it was really interesting because he was kind of questioning his decisions at times, and he wasn't just heartless. He had a heart, he had emotions, and I actually really thought his character was super interesting, and that was really nice to see in a show. So I actually really liked the characters as a whole, even though a lot of them caused unnecessary problems and were just evil people, but that really comes down to the Makjang plotline. Like I said, this show is not going to be for everyone. If you do not like overly melodramatic Makjang shows, don't watch this. You're not gonna like it because that's literally the whole show. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I do think that this show had potential for having an actual real plot, but that didn't happen, and you just kind of had to accept it for what it was. And personally, I kind of just started looking forward to all of the ridiculous melodramatic things that would happen because it was so ridiculous. It was funny at times, but it's been a long time since I've watched a melodrama like this, so I was kind of in the mood for it, which I think helped. I think if I'd been watching melodramas lately, I would not have enjoyed this at all. I would have just been super annoyed the whole time, but I actually did end up enjoying it. It's kind of one of those shows where I'm totally aware it has a ton of flaws and was really messed up in many ways, but I still enjoyed it. It's kind of like a guilty pleasure. I can't even make an argument for it because it had flaws, but I just enjoyed it, and I know some other people were like that as well. And like I said, there were some really great things in this show. The cinematography, the acting, Kim Woo-bin, and the soundtrack were four really great things in this show. If anything, that's what I kept watching for. Even if the plotline got ridiculous, I thought those four things were good enough to want to keep watching. It was 20 episodes, so it was a bit long, but that's kind of how melodramas tend to be. It was a bit slow paced at times, but it was what it was. So overall, I actually did enjoy Uncontrollably Fond despite all of its problems. It's probably one of the most aesthetic K-dramas I've watched. It was just beautiful, and it was very sad. I did cry. As for the ending, many people were unsatisfied with it or were expecting something different, but for me, I know that this writer is notorious for sad endings, so I was kind of thinking we were gonna get a sad ending. I won't say whether we do or not, but I will say I cried a couple times throughout this show. I was kind of hoping the ending would be heart-wrenching, sobbing my guts out, crying. I didn't cry that hard, which was a little disappointing. I'm glad that the writer did what she did with this show. I don't think it was that disappointing. I thought it was fairly fitting. It could have been better, but it also could have been a lot worse. So overall, I did enjoy Uncontrollably Fond. I would love to know if you watched it. Let me know what you thought down in the comments, because I know some people loved it and some people just hated it and were super disappointed. But I'll definitely be looking forward to Kim Woo-bin's new drama. He is outstanding. I love him. I can't get enough of him. Watch it for him. Just do it for him. him. I think that's it for today's drama review. Again, let me know what you thought in the comments or give me a recommendation of what to watch next. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and Hannah and I will see you soon. Annyeong.